In this episode of American Food Wars, we look into one of the most delicious divides in Southern cooking: biscuits and gravy versus chicken and waffles. Two dishes, both rich in history, both drenched in flavor, both claiming the crown of true Southern comfort. On one side, flaky, buttery biscuits smothered in peppery sausage gravy, humble, hearty, and born from the grit of the working South. On the other, crispy fried chicken resting on a golden waffle with syrup dripping like liquid gold. Bold, playful, and pure soul. But where did they come from? How did two meals, born from struggle and survival, rise to become national obsessions? And what do they reveal about America's complicated, flavorful past? We're diving deep into kitchens that fed soldiers, clubs that birthed jazz, and brunch tables where history still lingers, because this food war is about more than breakfast. It's about identity. Welcome to True History in Minutes, where we uncover the fascinating stories behind the things you use every day. If you like this type of content, consider subscribing and turning on notifications. It directly supports the growth of this channel. Let's start with a dish that could warm even the coldest Southern morning: biscuits and gravy. The story begins in the early 1800s, in the rugged Appalachian frontier. Farmers, mill workers, and field hands needed a breakfast that was cheap, filling, and easy to make with what little they had. Flour was common, fat from pork, also easy to come by. But yeast was expensive and hard to find. So Southern cooks turned to something new: baking soda and powder. That little chemical revolution gave birth to the quick bread, and with it, the fluffy Southern biscuit. But a biscuit alone wasn't enough. These were working-class families who labored from dawn to dusk. They needed fuel. Enter gravy. Using leftover pork drippings, the bits and scraps that would otherwise go to waste, cooks created a white roux of flour and milk, seasoned with black pepper, and sometimes sausage if you were lucky. The result was sawmill gravy, named after the lumber mills where it became a staple. The meal was rustic, simple, but deeply satisfying, a dish born out of necessity that soon became a tradition. In fact, there's a saying from early Virginia that went, "A good gravy could make a poor man rich by breakfast." And maybe it did. By the late 1800s, biscuits and gravy were more than breakfast. They were a way of life. Sunday mornings, farm tables, and family gatherings all started with the same comforting scent: fresh biscuits rising in cast-iron pans, thick gravy bubbling on the stove. To this day, in small-town diners across the South, you can still find people ordering it the same way their great-grandparents did: make the gravy thick enough to hold a spoon. But a few hundred miles north, and a few decades later, something new was sizzling. A dish that would challenge the humble biscuit for the title of Southern comfort royalty. Its name? Chicken and Waffles. To understand chicken and waffles, we have to rewind way back to the 1600s, when German immigrants, known as the Pennsylvania Dutch, brought waffle irons and savory recipes to America. They'd serve crispy waffles topped with pulled chicken and gravy, no syrup in sight. Fast forward 2 centuries to the Great Migration, millions of African Americans leaving the rural South for cities like New York, Chicago, and Detroit in search of opportunity. They carried their food traditions with them: fried chicken, collard greens, cornbread. But in the city, something new started to happen: fusion. It was the 1930s, in Harlem, New York, the cultural capital of Black America. Jazz was booming, and late-night clubs were packed with musicians, poets, and dreamers. After shows that ran until dawn, people were hungry. But it wasn't quite breakfast, and it wasn't quite dinner. So the kitchen at Wells Supper Club made a compromise: fried chicken from the dinner menu, fresh waffles from breakfast. The crowd loved it. Sweet and savory, crunch and fluff, it was comfort food with rhythm. That late-night accident turned into legend. Fried chicken and waffles became the unofficial meal of Harlem's golden age. Artists like Duke Ellington and Cab Calloway swore by it after gigs. It was indulgent, celebratory, the taste of freedom and creativity. And in the 1970s, a man named Herb Hudson brought the dish west to Los Angeles, founding Roscoe's House of Chicken and Waffles. Roscoe's made the dish a cultural phenomenon, from the black community to Hollywood to national fame. If you've ever seen a rapper name-drop Roscoe's or a celebrity brunch there, that's the legacy of that Harlem midnight meal. So here we are, two dishes, both Southern but worlds apart in what they represent. Biscuits and Gravy, born from poverty and perseverance. A symbol of rural life, simplicity, and endurance. The meal that says, we'll make do with what we've got. Chicken and Waffles, born from creativity and cultural fusion. A dish that defied boundaries, celebrating abundance, joy, and identity. It says, we made something out of nothing, and made it shine. One speaks of the earth, heavy, comforting, grounded. The other of the air, playful, daring, elevated. Yet both tell the same story, people taking what they had and creating something extraordinary. Fast forward to the 2000s. Suddenly, the rest of America wakes up to what the South has known for centuries. Comfort food is cool. Brunch becomes a national obsession, and both dishes find themselves on fancy menus across the country. Chicken and Waffles appears topped with hot honey, artisanal butter, even truffle syrup. Biscuits and Gravy re-emerges with smoked sausage, jalapeno cheddar biscuits, and chef-level plating. And though the settings may be upscale, the spirit remains the same, food that feels like home. Yet the debate rages on. Which dish deserves the title of ultimate Southern comfort? Is it the simplicity of the biscuit, the quiet power of a recipe passed down through generations? Or is it the swagger of Chicken and Waffles, the bold blend of cultures that redefined American soul food? Ask 10 Southerners, and you'll get 10 passionate answers, sometimes accompanied by a side eye or a lecture on gravy thickness. But here's the truth. Both dishes are part of a shared story, a story of resilience. They were both born from hardship, from cooks making magic out of scarcity. Both turned the ordinary into the unforgettable, and both became acts of love. Because in the South, food isn't just nourishment. It's memory, it's family, it's survival and celebration, all in one bite. That's why every plate of biscuits and gravy or chicken and waffles carries history, a taste of who we were and who we became. So the question now, if you had to choose one, just one, to represent the South on the world stage, which would it be? Team Biscuit or Team Waffle? Drop your answer in the comments and tell us what Southern dish you want to see next in American Food Wars. Was it shrimp and grits? Barbecue ribs? Maybe cornbread versus hush puppies? You decide what we battle next. Thanks for watching True History in Minutes, and we'll see you in the next episode of American Food Wars.